NFTs, non-fungible tokens. You've probably heard about them. They're everywhere. The Australian Open made their own NFTs, and yep, it was just a complete disaster. Now, I'm not talking about Novak Djokovic and is he in and is he out and all the court cases and drama. We're not going to go there, but we're just going to look at the NFT side of things. So in case you don't know, the Australian Open launched this, and I'm going to take you to a page right now. This is on Opensea. This is the AO Australian Open Art Ball. Now, don't worry about the statistics around this, but this is what an NFT looks like. This is one of the balls that you can buy. Essentially, the Australian Open was allowing you to buy a ball, which is a graphic. For those that don't know anything about NFTs, you can own this JPEG file here, and you can pay what now is not a lot. Certainly a couple of $100 worth of Ethereum at the current Ethereum price. So this is just a list of balls that are up for sale and their prices, their asking price, and the last offer that was made. But let's take you to the actual NFT launch. Let's take you right in there because this was unbelievable. So the NFT launch happened a few weeks ago now, and this is actually a screen recording that I did of the actual launch. This is me live on the web page, and you can see I'm refreshing and having a look around and trying to see if I can mint something. Can I not mint something? The countdown's gone down to 0 minutes. There was a pre-sale, but the mint buttons failed. So already we're off to a bad start. We should be able to mint an NFT here, and we can't. And the Australian Open website saying coming soon. This is an IT guy's worst nightmare when you've got thousands of people wanting to buy an NFT and nobody can log in. So right from the start, this was just a big failure. And you know what? I'm not a hater. I'm not hating on these things. I just wish people with more experience in the field got in here and actually did this properly, because this is just a mess. So what ended up happening here is, for a few minutes now, no one could actually mint anything. So this is the video. It goes for 6 or 7 minutes. I'm just going to fast forward this because this is just crazy. You want to be able to come in. Oh, there we go. There's the mint button. And bang, we've started up MetaMask. And what's going on? So you can see the estimated gas fee to mint one of these balls is $280. The ball cost only a couple of $100. I'm sitting here in shock going, why am I paying $500 for a $200 ball? This just doesn't make sense. And if you look, the gas fee is now up to $315. And I'm thinking, oh no, gas war. This is what happens when lots of people decide they want to go and use Ethereum all at once and buy something. There's no indication of a processing time, and now the gas fee's jumped up to $400. And I'm thinking, there's just no way. Now it's $500. Now, for those people who don't know what a gas fee is, it's a fee that goes to miners, people who are mining cryptocurrency, to help process that transaction on the blockchain. So when there's a lot of use on that blockchain, the mining fee goes up, and the people who can pay the most money obviously get their transactions processed. So now we're talking $791 for a ball. And I'm thinking, okay, this is crazy. So this is 0.067 Ethereum. And I'm like, the processing time's unknown. So even if you submit it, you actually might not get the ball. And this ended up happening to many people. I was sitting on the Discord channel talking to people at the time this was going on, and people have told me they lost money. They went to buy that ball. They decided, okay, I'll pay a $500 gas fee or a $600 gas fee, and it kept on going up. And they lost their money because the transaction didn't complete. So now we're up to gas fees of $700, so $940 for a $200 ball.
You cannot be serious!
And so you can see where this is going. People who have participated in NFT launches or ICOs know that this is just not the way to handle a public sale. This is just a textbook example of how not to do it. So you can see the gas fees just come back down to $800, and I hit reject. There's just no way I'm doing that, which cancels the transaction. When I look at this, people might say to me, what are your options? Oh, and just before I say anything further, you can see down the bottom left of the screen, 6,718 out of 6,776 art balls remaining. So it's not as if they were selling a lot at this $900 gas fee range. Now, they did actually sell out. Believe it or not, I think people went into shock and decided, stuff it, I'm going to pay that $903 in gas and take the risk on what is a first edition Australian Open NFT. And one of the reasons people do that is they want to own a first edition NFT. It's a prestigious thing to own. And yeah, that's all I can say. People are gambling. It's just simply gambling. So look, I think you get the idea about what happened here. In essence, I'll just fast forward this a little bit, but in 6 minutes or so, the collection sold out. It was completely gone. So that was it. All the balls gone. End of story. So now they're up on Opensea, and as you can see, the bids are far less. So you've got a number of them, 0.0042. So if you had have bought into this NFT launch and tried to sell, you would have lost money. And that's not good for anybody. But it just goes to prove how volatile some of these things are. And if you get into the crypto game, you've probably heard it from me many times, only invest what you can afford to lose. Now, in relation to NFTs, I like to see something tangible, something meaningful, something that I can use or that actually looks good. Some people think it's a status thing and they'll have pictures of apes and things in their social media profiles, and good on them if they want to do that and that makes them feel good. That's fine with me. But for the Australian Open, I just didn't really see any value in owning a ball. And yes, people who have done some investigation into the Australian Open will tell you the ball has data in it and it has the ball positions on the court and it's assigned to a particular thing and all this sort of techno nerdy stuff. And I'm like, big deal. So what is it? What does it actually mean? Is someone else going to buy this on the market? Who's going to buy this from me? Where's the value in it? I just don't see it. Now that's me being critical, okay? But on the other side, I think what could the Australian Open have done better? And the first thing that comes to mind is not using the Ethereum blockchain. Because if you're going to use the Ethereum blockchain, you either have to pre-mint these things. So the Australian Open would have had to pay money, X amount of dollars, to mint all of these individual things, and then they can allocate them. So if you really wanted to use Ethereum, fine. But obviously that's going to cost them money. They're going to want to try and recoup that cost, and they've got to design systems around that. So that's the situation with the Australian Open ball. What other blockchains are there to use? They could use Polygon, Matic, Solana. They could have used a whole heap of other blockchains that would have been faster and that would have cost them far less, or their users, the collectors, people like me, far less money. And they would have not caused a hell of a lot of people to lose money when those Ethereum transactions have failed. So there's some free advice for whatever it's worth, probably worth more than what they paid whoever it was to design this crappy system, but that's the way it is. That's the crypto space at the moment. It is a bit of the Wild West. It does remind me of the .com days, or pre-.com days in my case, when the internet first started. People just doing stuff, people just making things up and hoping it works, and this is an instance of that. I think it's just been a big failure. I hope that someday the prices of these balls go up and people recoup their cost. I very much doubt it, given the other NFTs that are being advertised for sale. It's just a matter of where you put your money, and I wouldn't be putting it in this at the moment. I didn't purchase one. I'm glad I didn't purchase one, and perhaps the Australian Open next time can think about other ways to add value. Anyway, I hope that gave you a brief insight into the NFT space and what that process looks like of actually buying one when it goes on sale. And I know I didn't really go into it in a lot of detail, but you get the feel of what happens and what not to do. And there's a significant amount of pressure on people to click that buy button and just say, oh, stuff it, I've got money in my wallet, I'll pay the $900 in gas fees. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay? And a really good way of minimizing that risk is only put an amount of money in your wallet that you actually want to spend. So in my case, I knew the ball would probably cost around $200, $250, and I knew I had that amount of money again in gas fees. So at least $500 was in there. Now, I didn't want to spend $250 in gas fees. I probably would have spent $30 in gas fees, but it is what it is. So I'm really curious to know, have you guys bought any NFTs? What's your view on this? Feel free to leave a comment below, and I'll see you on the next one.